So in this class, we're going to use MKS units, which stands for meters, kilograms, and seconds. Okay. Another common set of units is centimeters, grams, seconds, CGS units. You'll see that. But we're going to use MKS units. And this is also known as the Système International, SI units. It's a French unit. Okay. And they used to be, back in the day, they were physical objects. Like a meter was scratches in a bar of platinum, and a kilogram used to, up until quite recently, was a bar of platinum, and a second was defined in terms of a solar day. But they all now have these sort of conceptual definitions. So a meter is defined in terms of the speed of light. Right, it's how far light travels in 1 over the speed of light seconds, right? Because that's meters per second. This is how many seconds per meter, right? Okay. And then a second then is defined. It used to be, if you divide a day into 24 by, there's 60 minutes and there's 60 seconds in a minute. If you multiply that together, you get 86,400, right? It used to be defined in terms of that. But the problem is that the Earth, solar days are not constant. The Earth speeds up and slows down a tiny amount, but enough that we can't really use that as a constant. And the reason it speeds up and slows down is the same reason you speed up and slow down on those gates at Ibach Park. You put your arms out, you slow down, you pull them in, you speed up. And what's happening on the Earth is that when there's more clouds, the Earth actually, when there's more moisture far from up in the atmosphere, it'll slow down a little bit, which is kind of cool. So what it is a second is defined as so many vibrations of a particular spectral line of the cesium atom. Okay, there it is, right? So that defines seconds. Seconds defines, and then the speed of light defines meters, right? Okay, and then a kilogram used to be, 1,000 grams? So basically the mass of a liter of water when it's the most dense, which is around 4 degrees Celsius. And then they had a bar of platinum that defined that, kept in a vacuum in France until recently, until 2019, honest to God, right? But now it's defined in terms of Planck's constant. There's actually a couple constants that define that. Okay. Anyway, this is enough of a rant about the basic units there, right? So a meter is a little more for us, a little more than a yard. Okay. A kilogram weighs 2.2 pounds on Earth. Of course, in space it would have no weight at all. So be careful there, right? And then we all know what a second is, right? Now, what you got to understand, though, is that IB also will use these prefixes, and they'll assume that you're just right up on this, right? And we're sort of at a disadvantage in the U.S. because we don't really use the metric system. So, for example, they will say a station generates 120. Then they'll go capital M W. Well, that's megawatts. Okay. So what you do with these is you literally just do a text substitution, okay? When you see mega, you go, oh, that means 120, and then it's times 10 to the 6th. So it's a way to sort of write scientific notation without actually writing scientific notation, which is sometimes kind of a pain, okay? So and you're familiar with this, like with computer stuff, right? We could have 160 gigaseconds, right? That'd be 160 times 10. Where's giga? Giga's here. 10 to the 9th, right? That'd be a lot of seconds. Okay. And of course, one of our base units, the kilogram, is actually, the kilo is a kilo, right? So 1 kilogram is 1 times 10 to the 3rd grams, right? Literally, that's what it means, okay? Now, of course, you can make a bunch of dad jokes, right? For example, if you had, not 10 to the 9th, but 10 to the 12th bowls, why, that would be terrible, right? If you had 10 to the minus 12th booze, though, that would be 1 picoboo. If you had 10 to the 1 dents, let's see, that would be decadent. Now, if you had 10 to the minus 2 peds or 10 to the minus 3, you'd have either a centipede or a millipede. Okay, just understand that these are metric units. A millipede is actually 1/10 of a centipede. Right? You have to understand that, right? If you have 10 to the 6th moles, why, that is a megamole. And then, you've used microscopes, right? A microscope is 1/1,000,000th of a real scope, right? Come on, these are funny. Are you laughing? You're not laughing. Okay, and then, wait for it. If you have 2 times 10 to the 3rd mockingbirds, what is that? Well, that's 2 kilo mockingbirds.